Good afternoon, all of you. Myself, Dr. Suraj Suryavanshi, and I'm associated with Vision for last 3 years, and I take paper 4, that is ethics. All of you must have got some booklet or sheets. There is one document called Demystifying Ethics. If you have the document, okay, there is a document called Demystifying Ethics. So that's the approach for the how to prepare for paper 4. So this paper is very general. I want a discussion from your part also. That is, what is your understanding about this paper? And then we can discuss what is expectation of UPSC from the paper. And what is the syllabus, how to prepare for it, what are the references, so on and so forth. Okay. So what do you understand by ethics? What is your thinking why this paper must be there in civil services? Yes. Do you know this fact that this paper is newly introduced? It was not old. Okay, if you see the old pattern for last 60, 65 years, civil services never had this paper called ethics. Okay, this is 3 years back when the syllabus got changed. For the first time, ethics has been introduced. So you must know what the UPSC thinking, what UPSC try to evaluate through this paper from the UPSC aspirant, because the answer lies there only. That is, what is expectation of UPSC, you should fulfill those expectations. Because in this paper, there are less facts, less objective data. Okay, there are no much references. Okay, but here there are no books as such. It's more about the understanding. It's more about your, what is your take on different issues, how to go about it. So tell me, yes, what is your understanding of ethics? What is ethics? Yes? Okay, certain situations, not all situations ethics is required. Okay, fine. Okay. So what is its importance from civil service point of view? Yes. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Yes, that's fine. Okay, so you have numerous dilemmas that you face. Yes. Conflict between law and code of ethics. Yes, you are saying something about is the law an aspect of ethics, or it's a contradictory to ethics? You are saying something law. What you are saying about the law? Laws. Hmm. Hmm. So my question is the law part of ethics, or they are mutually exclusive, or they are conflicting with each other, or they are complementary to each other? Complementary. What is the law says about LGBT rights? What the law says about LGBT rights? And is it complementary with ethics? Now, of course, the ethics will differ on LGBT. Okay, again, subjective perception depending upon your value system, depending upon which kind of the society you live in. So that's also shape your value system. And therefore, your answer might also be different. But taking into account the modern opinion on LGBT, where we are trying to mainstream them. So we say that it's like a issue of human rights for the LGBT. And what the current law says, okay, criminalizes, yes, 377, okay, criminalizes the homosexuality. So not necessary all the times you will find the law and what is the value system are complementary or in sync with each other. But it also does not mean, now example I have picked up is a very rare one. Otherwise, in democratic society, you see, law is nothing but codification of consensus that have evolved in society. So when majority of people agree on certain issue, then eventually it get codified and it becomes a law. It is more objective in nature. It is more objective in nature. And second thing is, if something goes wrong, then there is a punishment. Okay, so that's why there is a law. But in ethics, it's still a vague perception of society and can differ from person to person. This I'm discussing just to make you understand and have a sensitivity about the word ethics. Are you understanding? Okay, now, yes, any other thing which anybody would like to say about ethics? Have you heard about the word morality? Is the ethics morality same? Are they two different things? Yes, you have any idea on morality? Okay. Ethics is not about ought to be. Ethics is about what it is. You only said that there are people in dilemma and therefore you are supposed to choose a decision what ought to be correct, what should be correct. Okay. Yes. Why this paper is called ethics? Why it is not called morality? Although, see, many of the philosophers don't believe in this difference between using the term ethics and morality. But at this point of time, I can just tell it in one line that morality is more individualistic in nature. That what is your individual stand, whereas ethics is external to you. What is the society's larger consensus, or sometimes we call collective wisdom on a particular issue. So that is about ethics. And your individual, now individual perception can vary as per the, but some or the other way, both are interchangeable words unless stated otherwise. And both means the principles which help you in distinguishing between right and wrong. And these are the principles which one required to follow in one's life. Okay, so this is a basic about the paper and what is the nature. Now let's come to more specific way that even though the ethics and morality are required in every walk of life, but in this paper we are concerned with respect to the bureaucratic life. Why civil servant required, why he needs to be an ethical or moral in his decision making. And this is why UPSC has introduced the paper and what is their expectation, what you are expected to prepare, how you are expected to frame your answer while writing the mains. Okay, of course this is not a paper for the prelims, although in prelims some glimpses you will find in CSAT paper, that is aptitude paper, in the form of decision making. Okay, in case of decision making you will get good number of questions on this ethics, but mostly this paper is for mains. Now coming to, yes, the civil servant. Now you see that for last 60-65 years, the one problem which is there in civil services is corruption. Okay, and the earlier recruitment system relied not so much on paper like this to recruit the people. Okay, there was a part, something called interview, which still exists. And in interview or the Viva, they will try to judge your personality. But it's more of a 20 minutes, 25 minutes interview. And down the line, it has been observed that people who have been chosen through this recruitment process are went on to become the most corrupt people of the society. Okay, not for all, of course, we have the people like Ashok Khemka and others. But this is a very much common problem of bureaucracy. And the first thing that comes is the corruption. The other parts are like, you must have heard the problems of bureaucracy such as red tape. What is red tape? Red tape. Red tapeism or red tape. Yes? Yes. Yes, you are right. So what is the impact of that? Okay, yes. So this represents the colonial procedures, okay, colonial methods, that how to, if the person is going into an administrator, towards an administration or ministry and department. So this is a files will move from one department to another department. It's a very complex procedure if you want your job to get done. Are you understanding? So there are so many steps, so many complex procedures, and everything leads into undue delay in public service delivery. So this stands for undue delay. Undue delay in public service delivery, which implicitly means there is a lot of harassment for a common man, and harassment comes up with, if you want to get out of the harassment, so obviously some oil is required to put into the rusting machine, and that oil is bribe, of course. So there is a problem with respect to the functioning of bureaucracy also, because of colonial laws, colonial procedures, which are still prevalent, and therefore it creates a complexity in administration, and this ultimately causes the harassment of common man. It leads to corruption also. It leads to undue delay in public service delivery. For example, Citizen Charter says that this particular service has to be delivered in 7 days. Now, the common man will go, and then he will be asked, like, people are not there, you come next week, and next week, and next week. They will ensure that he will not turn back. Okay, so that's how it works, and therefore, there is a lot of criticism on the bureaucracy. You must have heard of the word babus. Is a very privileged word for the bureaucracy. Read the Times of India. Babus is a very respected word for the bureaucracy, or it's a pejorative word, derogatory word. Yes, because of this, there is a term called babus. So there are so many problems. Like corresponding to this problem, there is a problem of lack of transparency, lack of accountability, okay, undue delay in public service delivery, corruption, inefficiency, so on and so forth. So there are some problems with respect to administration machinery and how it functions, and there are certain problems with respect to human resource, because they don't carry the high values, okay, high moral values, and because of that, even if to start with, like when they are aspirants, they feel like changing the society and so on and so forth. If you go in interview, the first question should to you is why you want to become an IAS officer, and then people say that I want to work for the society. There is a nearby slum in my village. Whenever I go to school, I used to see the slum. Okay, I want to do some work for them. Okay, so that I can increase my balance. Okay, in account. So these are the things which generally with which we enter with a lot of zeal in civil services, but ultimately, when it comes, there is a very famous quote of Lord Acton. You must be knowing. Yes, what is the famous quote? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So they say that there is not wrong with the human resource or me as such, but it is wrong with the system only. This is where the people with low moral values or no moral values will try to make an excuse that system itself is corrupt, so I can't do much to the system. But as I have said already, that there are people like Ashok Khemka who are in such complex system and still are honest, okay, or they are known for their impeccable integrity. Are you understanding? So this is actually trying to test the paper, those qualities. Why I have told you this philosophical aspect of it? Because this paper requires very much understanding of this notion, which I have discussed so far. Once you know what are the gaps and what the UPSC is trying to see, then of course this paper would be very, very easy for you. And these are aspects which will be checked through two types of questions. One are theoretical questions, which are more of a direct questions. And second is important one, that is in the form of case studies. Okay. So coming to the broadly the syllabus, okay, I'm not going to discuss in detail, but broadly you should know about what is the syllabus of paper 4. Have you gone through the syllabus? Have you gone through the syllabus? Because see, in case of many of you are freshers now, that must be out of your college and graduation, and then you never required to see the syllabus frequently. But for UPSC, the preparation should start from looking to the syllabus, not looking at syllabus looking at many a times, remembering it, and making it part of life. Because whatever you are reading every day, there is so much of material in the market, there are so many things, and unless and until you know where your information requires to be fit in, you can't do justice to what the information you are collecting. So, must know the syllabus. It goes with all the subjects, and because there are so many things to read, and this is a smart strategy also. Like if you know the syllabus, you always have your focused attention on what kind of the questions, what is the nature of questions that UPSC can ask. Along with the syllabus, the second thing is that you should require to frequently visit is previous years question papers. Okay, these two are very important because these are the only two things with which UPSC communicate with the aspirants. Okay, otherwise we don't know because UPSC stands for unpredictability. Okay, so there is the quite unpredictable commission, and therefore these are the two things with which you can reduce the unpredictability or you can make it more predictable. So frequent looking at the syllabus, frequently seeing the previous year's question paper. In case of ethics, you will not have too many previous year's question paper because as I have said, this is newly introduced, but 3-4 question papers are with us. So you can frequently look and go through those papers in trying to understand what is the nature of questions that has been asked. Okay, so briefly, I'm discussing so that you will have a very broad or the macro understanding of the paper. Syllabus can be divided. Obviously, UPSC do not divide this way. Can be two parts. That is a theory part, application part, and third is case study part. Okay, so every subject has its core aspects also, and that's so true with the paper 4, that is ethics. That there is a theory, application. Now, theory part is basically related with, there are certain concepts in ethics. Okay, so in bracket, this is a core part, or these are the concepts or the core part of ethics. In this, what you are going to learn is the first, what I have been describing, like introduction to ethics, why ethics is important, what is ethics, what is morality, okay, what are values, how ethics, morality, values are different from each other, are interrelated to each other. And every humanity subject has its language. Unless and until you catch hold over the language, you will not able to do justice with your answer, because ultimately it's a mains which going to count. Okay, and in case of mains, and particularly in paper 4, you require a very strong language. And in this case, there is a sort of a vocabulary for the ethics. So you must repeatedly revise those words and make those words as a part of your life so that it will come very naturally when you start writing the answers. So concepts make a first introduction. I'm not writing completely, but that's what I said, that is ethics, morality, values, different dimensions of ethics, etc., etc. So that's the first point. Then there are concepts like aptitude. Third is attitude. Fourth is emotional intelligence, EI. Have you heard of this word, emotional intelligence? Okay. And the fifth one is moral thinkers. So this constitutes the core part of ethics. Okay, introduction, aptitude, attitude, emotional intelligence, and moral thinkers. So there are so many sub points also within this. Not going through those points, but just one line for each. Here they have added the thing called, okay, let me ask you this. How do you differentiate between attitude and aptitude and emotional intelligence? One line, can anybody tell? And why it is required for the UPSC aspirant or the civil servant for that matter, not aspirant. Aspirant of course require that, but ultimately because civil servants requires it, so they are going to test. Hmm. 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 Yes. Hmm. 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 Acha. Hmm. Right. So easier said that I would say, because emotional intelligence. Now what she's saying that one should create a win-win situation. What about the conflicting emotions? If the person wants something, which is what you can say that unreasoned demand for something, and you are a bureaucrat, how you are going to manage that? How you are going to create a win-win situation if there is a conflict interest? Are you everybody's understanding what I'm trying to say? She's saying that emotional intelligence helps in creating a win-win situation. Now I'm giving a situation wherein a person, say for example, I can make it more emotional, that there is a 65 plus year old lady has come to your office asking for Aadhaar card, and she don't carry any identity sort of papers, or she wants an LPG cylinder connection and she don't have the Aadhaar card, she don't have the required documents, and she's begging in front of you, please help me out, getting so emotional and saying that lost my son in recent accident, and there are my grandsons and granddaughters, I need to send them in school. So she don't carry any paper. You don't know whether she belongs to below poverty line. You don't have any data about it. Then can you help her? Can you help her? What the legal and the rule says. So what you are going to do with this? Are you going to be illegal in order to help her? Because she don't carry any paper. Okay, she don't have any. See, there is a rule book for you. And there is a requirement, so-called beneficiaries. So beneficiaries, qualification for the beneficiaries. So every scheme will come up with certain rules, regulations, certain guidelines, and as per the case, she do not fit into this scheme. Or for that matter, you can take any person of the society and any scheme. If a person XYZ do not fit into this scheme, but still you think he is the most deserved one. So how will you resolve the dilemma? Yes? Okay. So you don't think that you are a competent person to go ahead with that? Okay. Yes. Hmm. Hmm. Yes, very good. So what you can think in this case? Hmm. Okay, that's, you can help him out. You can help her out. Like rather than dodging the rules and regulations, make an earnest effort. Try to fit her into a particular scheme by seeing why papers are not there. You can go out of the way in getting her papers. There you can help her rather than giving her directly. Are you understanding? That's one thing. Yes, you are also right. There are certain complex situations where you require to take an advice of superior also. But this is a case where if you are an administrative service, Indian administrative service, so it's your final authority. Like say for example, this is a very small thing, whether a person is going to fit into the scheme or not, and what should be my decision on it. Here you don't require to consult the commissioner or superior. Okay, there are certain things which requires to be resolved at your level. So this discussion is required in answer, because this kind of a case study has already been asked, and then you have to discuss the problem, discuss the values that are required. So you see here, many of the problems that I have discussed in bureaucracy, that red tapeism, inefficiency, transparency, accountability, lack of transparency. Along with that, there is also a one word called bureaucratic apathy. What is a bureaucratic apathy? That is attitude of indifference towards the weaker section or towards the common man's problem. This is something sometimes we call it's a very elite service. Okay, and there is a sort of elitism in bureaucracy. This is because of colonial hangover, partly because colonial era, the bureaucrats were supposed to listen to their masters, and so much of power has been vested to them. So it's more they are accountable to their masters rather than they are accountable directly to the people. And this way, a lot of power has been vested into bureaucracy. So in this regard, bureaucracy has been criticized, and that colonial mindset has continued even date. That hangover still exists. If you see the bureaucracy, and most of the times people don't want to like really listen to the problems of society. And what is the value that comes? There are other rules and regulations, of course, will be there. They will try to see that you go, you have to conduct these many visits, so on and so forth. There are targets also, but everything what I'm saying is rules and regulation and the laws. But ethics come that in order to make those rules, regulations implement in life, you require value system. So unless and until you have a values called empathy, or you have a compassion, okay, these are the values which are going to be tested. Values of empathy and compassion. So this requires to be imbibed in a civil servant so that he will be more service oriented, okay, rather than rule oriented. Again, in last year there was a question that give some example from your life where you are legally correct but morally wrong, and then you are required to discuss another example where you are morally correct but legally wrong. So you need to discuss these problems. Last year it came a very straightforward question. It can be asked in the form of case studies as well. Your understanding is the problem of emotional intelligence. Yes, let's come to the aptitude and attitude part. Here, yes, somebody, some more answers on attitude and aptitude difference. Attitude, she has given the example, positive attitude and negative, but what it is in the first instance, what it is? Yes, anyone? More about what? You can give the example also. This is where there is a reflection of my attitude and my reflection of aptitude. Can you give an example? What is your background? MPhil program. In which? Law and governance. Okay. So you can tell me any example from your stream. This is an aptitude where I take the decision, and this is a part of my attitude. Law and governance has lot many things wherein you require to bring in an attitude. Yes, can anybody tell me the difference? Attitude and aptitude? Very basic things. Anyways, so aptitude is more about your competence. Whether you are competent, okay. Now, competency requires your technical knowledge, okay, your information. So, based upon your knowledge or based upon your technical knowledge, whether you are competent to do something or not. Okay, now say for example, in case of law, have you studied the Indian Constitution? Do you know all the statute? Do you know IPC, CRPC, so on and so forth? So this is a part of your competence, your part of aptitude. Okay, whether you can able to do that thing or not. That is about the competency, it is about your ability. Although it is not a proven one, remember this, the difference is it's not a proven one, but from some aspects of life you can make it. This person will be good in law. This person is good in learning the language. This person is good in playing the guitar, playing the sports. So some sort of aspects of life where you can understand that this person's competency is there in a particular aspect. But attitude is your value system. Okay. In fact, value system shapes your attitude. Attitude, as it says, that it's predisposition with respect to what you think, what you do, okay, with respect to different things in life. Okay, what you think, what you speak, and what you do. Okay, these are the different parts we will discuss some other time. What are the cognitive part, affective part, and behavioral part. But every particular person has a certain thought and value system. And he is going to use his competence in that particular direction. Now let us take an example of bureaucrats only. He is competent to function or do particular task. He is competent. Now what competence required? He need to know the problem. He need to know what are the different alternatives and how to resolve those alternatives. That is his competence part. But now where the attitude comes in whether he is going to do it or not. And whether he carries the empathy and compassion to the weaker section to use his competence in right direction, or whether he use his competence to his own advantage, okay, like concentration of property, like he will act in a self-interest rather than acting in the interest of society. So what is your value system? That is going to determine your attitude, and attitude is going to guide the aptitude part. So what is important for the servant, civil servant, or for that matter any profession, is not just aptitude, but there is a lot of importance of attitude, because attitude determines the direction of your aptitude. I hope point is clear, okay? And then there is emotional intelligence, and then there are moral thinkers. Moral thinkers are, this is a one chapter. Whatever I am telling, value system, so on and so forth, they do not fall from sky. Somebody, some great philosopher in some century must have spoken something good, and that has become the value system. So here you are going to learn both Western philosophers and the Indian philosophers. Western, something like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Machiavelli, so on and so forth. So there are good Western philosophers whose philosophy, again, philosophers does not mean that you start reading the philosophers from the philosophical point of view. Okay, there are other subjects like philosophy. So here, yes, there is certainly a role of philosophy, but we are going to see only that aspect of thinker which has to do with ethics. Okay, so there may be just an one para of Socrates and Plato that may be useful for us. There is one para of Aristotle that will be useful for us. So do not have this that you need to read thinkers, and unless and until you don't know the thinkers, you will not able to succeed in this paper. So that's not the case. It's a very, very generic things said by some different thinkers. You should also have a habit of reading the quotes, because quotes you can put in ethics straightforward in order to give weightage to your answer. Apart from that, UPSC has asked different quotes, okay, in paper 4. In last year paper, there were 3 quotes by different scholars, one from Aristotle, one from Abraham Lincoln, another from Gandhi. Okay, now it does not mean that again there is an exhaustive list and you have to mug up those quotes. Even if you don't know the quote, you can just interpret the literal meaning of it, and you can write how that quote is relevant for the civil servant. Okay. Apart from that, this is a paper. Importance of this paper lies with the fact that this is very subjective. One cannot prepare, so there is no saturation point which you can achieve. Otherwise, it happens in case of different papers, because there is a fixed syllabus, fixed reference book. There is a lot of objectivity. This paper will help you. You will not understand the importance of this paper presently, but if you interact with those people who have cleared the exam, and those who are upgrading their ranks, then they eventually will tell you that this paper carries a lot of importance, because all good, well-prepared people fall in the same range. Now, how to make the difference? How to make the difference with respect to your ranks? Now, this is a paper where there is a lot of subjectivity, so if you are good in it, so you can excel with respect to the others. If you are good in this paper, it will eventually help you in essay writing also, and it will help you in interview also. So there is a lot of things required to be understood with regard to the importance of paper. Once you have done with all your GS 1, 2, 3 plus your optional paper, then you have to look towards this paper as taking an edge over the others. Okay, so and this paper you cannot do it in 7 days, 5 days. Okay, this is the time which I have slotted to this particular ethics, and I'll do it. Personality and value system cannot be changed overnight. It can't be changed in 15, 20 days also. It can't be changed in a year also. Okay, when you will learn the paper, you will understand how it is difficult to change the that is thought process. So you need to continuously hammer yourself with respect to these values whenever you are reading the newspaper, magazine, and so on and so forth. Now, in case of application part, whatever we have learned, this part can be written in one word, that is a governance. Okay, moral governance, ethical governance, or today there is a buzzword called good governance. So whatever the parts that we learn as a part of theory, so there is also theory with respect to good governance theory, then transparency and RTI Act, then there is accountability, Lokpal, Lok Ayukt, then there is citizen charter. So there are different aspects within the governance which help you to become, help to have an ethical governance, moral governance, good governance. So there are certain things which are required as a part of a value system, but we require certain changes in administration also. Like I have said that colonial complex procedure. So you require to replace it with transparency. So there was a less transparency. There was something called Official Secret Act, which was existing. So there is a lot of opacity with respect to the governance. So we have to change that opacity into transparency. Then there are aspects about accountability. Accountability means, what is accountability? Yes, answerability for your actions. And also, it has to be accompanied by, if the answer is not satisfactory, then there should be, yes, sanctions behind it. Unless and until there are sanctions, this is just an paper accountability then. Okay, so there is no deterrence value. And if there is a deterrence value for it, naturally people will think 10 times before acting. So strong accountability is also important. So there are certain, what you are trying to understand, what you need to understand it, there are some things which you inherently imbibe as a value system so that you should not be corrupt. But that is an ideal situation. That's an utopia. All the bureaucrats will not have the highest range of morality, and therefore they don't require laws, procedures, and etc. There are other things which are required, that is external things, in order to make him transparent and ethical, like transparency, like RTI Act is there, then accountability, Lokpal, Lok Ayukta institution are there, CVC is there. What is CVC? Central Vigilance Commission. Okay, so there are different tools through which public can ask the question to the political representatives or to the civil servant so that they can be accountable. There are two other aspects in that. One is like corporate governance, good corporate governance, and then last topic is, that is ethics in international relations. Because we have to see that in contemporary times there are so many issues in international politics and international affairs where you require to bring in ethical values. Yes, can you tell some of the ethical issues in international relations? One or two? Yes, Syrian crisis, or for that matter, corresponds to Syrian crisis. There is a European crisis, migration crisis. What is the ethical issue involved there? Yes, refugees. So it's a humanitarian thing that is required to be understood, because countries are sovereign in international politics. So legally speaking, every country has is a sovereign or a supreme to take the decision whether to allow the refugees or not. But beyond these sovereign and legal aspects, we need to also consider the humanitarian aspect. So that is where the ethics is required, and not only in case of Syria, but it requires elsewhere also. Everywhere you see there are different refugees. Okay, we too also have the refugees. Which are the refugees? Bangladesh refugees. Okay, so yes, Bangladesh illegal immigrant. Now that shows an attitude. When you call illegal migrant, it's another way of looking at it. And if you call somebody as a refugee, there is yet another way of looking at it. So these are the perspectives. You understanding? So this reflects that if you are quite empathetic and compassionate, of course there are certain legal complexities. I'm not saying that. Okay, there are other things that has to be looked into also. But broadly, we are trying to see an illegal migrant and tagging somebody as a refugee will have different repercussions on taking the different actions. Yes, any other issue in international politics? One or two? India-Nepal blockade, yes. Why? Why it is an ethical issue? What happened? Okay, so it becomes more egoistic in nature. Because Indians are lying that side of the border. Therefore, we should not have. Okay. Yes. Yes. So many basic services that are being provided by the India. Basically, the kerosene also, and there are certain food items also. That these items have the cross-border trade, and when you keep the blockade, so obviously it's not only your now this is off the record. Obviously, one should be very diplomatically and politically correct while writing the answers. You cannot write this in paper, international paper, that India should have not done this and that, because there are certain other complexities you need to understand. But yes, one can easily see that it has pushed the life of Nepalis out of the gear, those people who are living in Tarai region, okay, because there was a blockade. So obviously there is ethical issue. Yes, something else? Hmm? Which report? What is it? Okay, yes, yes. Related with that aspect. Something which is related with every country. Matlab most of the countries are facing the problem. Nuclear weapons, is there any, yes, non-proliferation, ethical issue in that? What is ethical issue in nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction? Terrorism, okay, religious fundamentalism, issues with respect to IPR, intellectual property rights, issues with respect to life-saving drugs, okay, democratization of international institutions like IMF and World Bank, okay, South and North divide, okay, developed and developing countries divide, climate change. Climate change is an ethical issue, or it's just a geographical and climate change issue? Ethics is involved everywhere, because there is a melting of ice caps, some islands will submerge, so obviously this is a life and threat, a life situation for some of the countries, okay, and there are other repercussions also. Okay, so these are the points which we require to learn in applied part. Last is case study. Case study is not a new part. Whatever you have learned in 1 and 2 part, those questions can be asked directly, or it can be asked indirectly in the form of case studies. Whatever the examples I have discussed so far, this can be created in a more sophisticated manner, and that can be asked to you. What are the alternatives available? What are the values that are required to be understood in this case study? What are your alternatives? Which one will you choose? Why you will choose? Now, there can be a layman answer, normal answer. There are certain case studies where the answer is very obvious, okay, that you require to act in this manner. But what differentiates the civil servant and the UPSC aspirants from the other is the kind of the words that you will be using. Whatever you have learned here, you will have certain basis. Like you will write, because Indian Constitution Article 24 prohibits the child labor, and therefore I would take this action. Now this provides the weight to your answer, that you are bringing up Indian Constitution, and you understand it's not just the moral value, but this is legally and constitutionally correct. You can bring the values of preamble, because this is a socialist, okay, secular. Yes, there are different values which are enshrined in the preamble: justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. So these are some of the words which you should use. Constitution, there are different laws are in place. So you need to make a judicious mix of your subjective opinion as well as the legal statute and the constitutional provisions in writing the answer. And you need to discuss all the alternatives before writing the answers, and then you have to discuss the merits and demerits of different alternatives available, and then you have to write which alternative you are going to pick. Okay, so this is broadly the aspects of ethical paper. Last point, that is you will be more interested in it, but this is very least important part for this ethics section, that is about reference books. Okay, unless and until you get the list of the books, you will not feel happy. Yes, so you can write some of the references, how to go about it. You have any question or any doubt to ask? Okay, I'll take otherwise the questions later. Yes, so the references, what are the references for this paper? From whatever I have discussed, you must have got the nature is not something that you will get everything from the books. Books are there as just a pointers, and to sensitize you with the syllabus. Okay, what is the syllabus and what are the different terms? Now, there are different books available in the market, but there is a one called Lexicon. Okay, Lexicon, the name is Lexicon. Lexicon, that is, what is lexicon? Word, literal meaning of lexicon? Different meanings are there. So that's the simplest book, but I would say that's the most powerful book also. It's by the Chronicle publication, okay, for paper 4. It's a very small book. It's like a handout, okay, so handbook. And in that, different terms, whatever the syllabus, likewise the syllabus, everything has been mentioned. And believe me, for UPSC, if you are good in assimilating the knowledge from the small and whatever the brief information that is provided to you, then this will be sufficient also, okay, which is a very small book of 200 pages and a handbook. That would be sufficient, but I'm going to tell you the references also, because see, the book itself sufficient, it does not mean that you mug up this book and then you can create the miracle. That is not going to happen. You may land up in some less than 50 marks also with this book, and somebody can get 125 round marks. Now, how to make the difference? Because this preparation will not come from books like this. Other books which I first of all mention, and then I'll mention how to go about it. There is book by Arihant publication also. All the books name is same, and that is paper 4 ka jo likha hua hai, ethics and integrity. Okay, papers, books name is same. I'm just mentioning about the publication, Arihant publication. And the third book you can refer as Ethics and Integrity by Subbarao. By Subbarao. Second was Arihant publication. And third is Ethics and Integrity by Subbarao. Last one is a sort of a reference book. Okay, a lot of philosophy has been given. You have to skim through it. You have to filter that book in order to get some points. Okay, but those people who don't understand the humanities and shifted from technical background to humanities, they don't understand liberty, equality, fraternity. Yes, it happens. Okay, it happens. So, and there are good number of people who feel unless and until they read the big books, that don't feel like they have understood the subject, okay, especially medical people, okay, so unless and until they don't read a big book, okay, so they don't feel like they have read something. So for them, this is a combination of 3 books, and the third one is a reference book. Apart from that, there is ARC report, which is very important because it's a government report also. What is ARC? Administrative Reform Committee. Okay, so this Administrative Reform Committee, second, has provided with many reports. One of the report is important for us. That is report number 4. You can download on PDF from your online material is also available. That is what Ethics and Integrity, paper 4 by Subbarao. It is famous by the thinkers, that is, which publication? Axis publication, okay. But if you say Subbarao, you will get, but that is how it is known for, okay. So that's about, ARC report number 4. Report number 4, that is Ethics in Governance. This report 4 is about ethics in governance. Ethics in governance. Apart from that, of course, if you are joining the batch, there are notes. Vision has also prepared the consolidated material also, based upon the last year's first question papers and etc. So even if you are not joining, you can go through the material. It's a good material. But then again, you need to frequently see through the syllabus and previous year's question paper in order to do justice to the books that you are taking from the market. This comes with a pinch of salt with the thing that most of this paper are shamelessly copy-pasted from management ethics book. Okay. Initially, there was no ethics paper in civil services. So there is no book available. There is no. This is not a mainstream subject where you will find in graduation and post-graduation also. But this was existing in as a part of a business ethics and management ethics. But you can understand how horribly you can go wrong. Here you are being a public servant, and there You need to, yes, extract the revenue out of the public. So their managerial and business ethical values are absolutely different from what are the values that are here. You require to serve, okay, to the bottom of pyramid, and their bottom of pyramid will be the base to increase the subscriber base so that revenue can be generated. So there are certain information, certain theories which are mentioned in this book also. That's why I said copy pasted. But then you need to understand. How will you understand then? You will understand through the syllabus and previous year's question paper. What is the nature of questions that are being asked? What is expected out of you? So take these books, particularly these two books, last and this one, and there are certain other books that whatever the information that you will be getting. Remember, there are certain theories, very complex theories mentioned in different books. UPSC is not at all interested in knowing any single theory. Okay, it's not interested in knowing theory. Again, a good previous year's question papers understanding will help you in getting through this, that they are not interested in knowing the different philosophies and different theories. Of course, there are certain obvious theories and obvious principles that are required, but not very, you don't have to do PhD in ethics, that's the thing. And you don't have to do PhD in any of the subjects in civil services. Otherwise, it will be very difficult, because you need to understand the nature of general studies. Is the word, it comes with general. So general understanding of everything. So that's about aspects about reference book. Now, how to use other material. Other material, I would say that your newspaper, whenever you, get some catchy quote, you should note it down. In the Hindu newspaper, you should read the Hindu. Okay, you should stop reading the Times of India and so on and so forth, if you are reading at all, of course. What I am trying to suggest, there is a column, that is reader's column, reader's opinion. So in reader's opinions, you will understand different perspectives on a particular issue. So if you, there you will get to learn that what you think so far, maybe you are right, but that's not the only opinion that exists in the society. You need to know the different shades of opinion. Unless and until you know the different shades of opinion, you cannot 100% say that what you think is right, because it has to be like there is a process of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, and this is how the truth emerges. And even if you are not expected to bring the extreme opinion, but you are expected to write that opinion in alternatives, because UPSC will ask what are the possible alternatives. So there you need to bring different alternatives, and then you have to discuss the demerit of such extreme alternatives in order to reach to your decision, or in order to justify the decision that you are going to take. Are you understanding how this process would be? So this is not a 1 day or some 7-day process. It's throughout the process. Believe me, you will enjoy this paper also. Otherwise, it will help you in personality also, and it will help you eventually in articulating your views, which will eventually help in your interview also. So please do this thing seriously without looking towards it as a very mechanical paper. If you consider it mechanical, then of course you will not able to bring the answers. And UPSC is very, very smart enough to bring about those aspects of you. If you are an ultra-capitalist, they will put certain hints, and they will bring that component of you also. And if you are ultra-socialist, okay, that's also be quite evident in your answer. So you need to balance the equation, and for that, then you need to understand the different opinions and different aspects. One thing, like you need to be a very patient listener, and empathy, that component is very important. You need not fall into extremes, because once you fall in extremes, you will not have that vision to see the benefits of others' alternative also. So that is very important exercise for this paper. Apart from that, read a good biography or autobiography, because good number of questions this year and last year. In fact, last year, I think there were 6-7 questions. This year also 6-7 questions. Before that, there were 10 questions. Straightforward, they are asking question, and there is a sub-question. That is, tell some event from your life which will justify your answer, or tell some event from your life why you choose this particular thing, that particular thing. So, wahan pe jaake, then you go blank. You cannot say that such event has not happened in my life or something like that. I will be too honest that I will keep it blank. Okay, so that will not happen. And if you will try to make up the answer there and there itself, so the answers are very funny at times. Okay, we read through the model answers कि मैं क्लास में आया, मुझे 3 घंटे का पेपर था, मॉडल पेपर, मैंने वो 3.5 घंटे में फिनिश किया, and then I realized that I have exceeded half an hour, and then there was a guilt, and then I have scratched all the paper that I have written in half an hour. So this is how I have reformed my guilt. मतलब जब पढ़ के ही नहीं आया है तो दिस टाइप ऑफ आंसर्स यू विल मेक. कुछ तो मतलब लिखना ही है, कुछ याद ही नहीं आ रहा, अब वहीं का वहीं लिख दो. मतलब लाइफ में कभी ऑनेस्टी और इंटीग्रिटी हुई नहीं थी, वहीं पे हुई थी, वहीं याद आया. So unless and until you brainstorm your life situations, so whatever the vocabulary that you understand, do not just mug up the meaning of it, brainstorm it. Any good philosopher who must have practiced this value, have you practiced this value in your lifetime? How this particular value has helped you in your lifetime to grow? And this kind of the questions will be there. Okay, so and this subjective question answers which are going to make a difference to your answer and difference to your marks, because definition everybody is going to write, and this is where you can make a difference to your answer. Is it fine? Any other questions from your side if you want to ask? Just in 2 minutes. Any question? Apart from this, even GS, if you want to ask. Yes? Any question from this paper? From? Ethics class is starting from which date? That the management will communicate to you. So they will send you if once you join for the classes, they will send you the mails or the text message. You will get it. Okay, eventually you will understand. Yes, any other? This batch, you have already joined. I'm not sure about what is the composition of the class. Few of us. When it is going to begin? It has already begun. Okay. Classes have started. 11 July. Okay. Okay, fine. Yes. Any other? If you want to ask any personal questions, you can come there also. Okay. Or you can ask later also. Is it fine? Thank you so much, and all the best.